before we dive in, subscribe to the channel for more real, unfiltered stories that hit where it hurts. It all began on a calm Friday evening. One of those nights so quiet and uneventful that you can almost feel something wrong lurking just below the calm. I was settled on the couch with a half-watched movie flickering across the screen, the only real light coming from my phone resting in my hand. She'd stepped out earlier, mentioning a late dinner with a few co-workers, and I hadn't pressed her about it. After years of marriage, trust had turned into habit. But lately, that trust felt fragile, like a thin layer stretched over cracks that were ready to split. At exactly 9:14 p.m., my phone vibrated. Her name appeared with a single blunt message. "I'm with Jake tonight." No explanation. No softening words. Just that. I stared at it, rereading it over and over. Jake, the name that had started showing up more than it should. "He's just a co-worker," she'd said before, laughing it off like I was imagining things. But that message wasn't casual. It wasn't innocent. It was careless, confident, like she believed I'd simply accept it. And in that moment, I understood not just that something was wrong, but that she thought she was untouchable. I didn't call her. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I leaned back and felt my pulse settle instead of race. Betrayal doesn't always arrive like a punch. Sometimes it drips in slowly, like poison, until it becomes undeniable. I'd noticed the signs long before: the late nights, the rushed showers, the way her phone never left her side, even in her sleep. So when that message arrived, I didn't shatter. I smiled, because now I had confirmation, and more importantly, I had control over how her little performance would end. For a moment, I let my eyes wander around the quiet living room. The framed wedding photos, the candles she'd lit that same morning, the goodbye kiss she'd given me without truly looking at me. Her scent still clung to the pillow beside me, mixed with an emptiness that felt like someone who'd already emotionally packed and left. Slowly, with intention, I typed my reply. "No problem. Tell Jake I said thanks. She's all yours now." I pressed send and set the phone aside. I didn't need to see her reaction to know exactly what would follow. I knew her. The part of her that thrived on admiration, on control, on feeling irreplaceable, wouldn't know how to process someone who simply stopped caring. And that's what I wanted her to feel. Not rage, not jealousy, but complete irrelevance. Moments later, my phone began lighting up nonstop. Call after call. Message after message. Her name flashing again and again. I ignored every single one. I muted the sound and let the silence swallow her panic. Because somewhere between her lies and her ego, she'd forgotten what it felt like to truly lose. When I finally checked the screen, there were 16 missed calls and a wave of messages. "It's not what you think. Please answer." I didn't mean it like that. Every word more desperate than the last. The same woman who had texted me with confidence an hour earlier now sounded terrified. But I wasn't finished. Not even close. I opened our shared banking app and transferred half of our joint savings into my personal account. Money I'd quietly protected for years, just in case forever turned into temporary. Then I walked into the bedroom and began carefully folding her clothes into boxes. No yelling, no destruction, just calm, methodical silence. The same silence she left me drowning in for months. When I was done, I placed her wedding ring on top of the boxes, the one she'd stopped wearing on weekends. An hour later, her car screeched into the driveway. The door flew open. "Please," she gasped, rushing toward me. Eyes wide, hair messy, still in the same outfit she'd left in. "It's not like that. It's really not." Her words died the instant she saw the boxes, the ring, my stillness. I looked at her calmly and said, "I know. That's the problem. It is exactly like that." Her voice cracked as she reached for my hand, but I stepped away. "Jake means nothing," she cried. "It was just a stupid mistake." I met her gaze steadily. "No, a mistake is tripping on a step. This was a choice." She collapsed to her knees, sobbing, repeating my name as if it could undo everything. But there was no power left in her voice. No charm, no spell, not anymore. I moved toward the door, paused, and glanced back at her, shaking, broken, clinging to the life she'd thrown away so carelessly. You texted me. I said quietly, I'm with Jake tonight. You just didn't realize that would be the last message you ever sent as my wife. And then I walked out. No dramatic speech. No revenge scene. Just silence. The kind that echoes louder than fury ever could. The next morning, she tried calling again. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. Her games, her flirting, her excuses. Her lies had ended exactly how they always were meant to, with her finally understanding that the man she thought would always forgive her had chosen to walk away. And that realization was the one thing she never saw coming.